Hey, what's going on, my friends? It's Dave Sharpe back in the pilot's chair once again. And wow, guess what? Guess what? We have another amazing guest, part-time chiropractor, full-time mom of three, building a business one batch at a time. Kelly, welcome to the show.
Hello.
How are you?
Thanks so much. I'm good. Thanks for having me. I'm much better now. I was super sick earlier this week, so I didn't think I was going
I'm
to be able to do this.
I'm dealing with some illness myself right now, so I'm with you. It must be going around the country.
It's horrible.
So where are you? Where do you live? Where are you calling in
I'm
from?
in State College, Pennsylvania, which is the home of Penn State University.
Nice, nice,
So
very
right
cool.
in the center.
So what brought you to Legendary? What were you looking to get out of this when you came?
So I work, like you said, part-time as a chiropractor in my chiropractic office with my dad. And basically, I was just needing something more in terms of finances, but I didn't want to leave home. I didn't want to leave my boys. I'm with my three boys all the time as much as I can be. And I wanted to find something that I could do so I could still spend time with them, not have to be at work more, not have to get another job, and that I could do with them kind of around me as well. So I, as most people do, I think with this, was perusing the internet, scrolling, and I stumbled across somebody and I was like, huh, that kind of sounds interesting. What the heck is it? And so I did a little research, got the ebook, and um, signed up for the 15-day challenge, and then was kind of like hooked after that. Like, was
Nice.
literally running around chasing my kids because it was end of the summer, beginning of the fall. So we were outside. My children don't want to come inside ever. Like, I pack a backpack and we go outside for the day pretty much. So I had my earbuds in and I'm chasing boys around, giving them drinks and like listening to day two and trying to take notes in my phone. And that's how I did it.
Yeah, yeah. So, are you happy that you made that decision? Do you feel like you're heading in a productive direction that is either already producing results or is on the way to producing results?
Yes. I've been so happy so far. I mean, I think most of us are wanting to see results like ASAP and you get like super antsy whenever you don't. I was lucky. I mean, I feel like I was lucky. I got my first commission at 28 days in. So that kind of like fueled my fire and gave me a little more oomph.
Mm,
And then I just kept going with it. I did hit like a little bit of a lull around the holidays and Christmas time. Things slowed down for me a little bit,
yeah.
but it's picking back up again. And I think what everybody says is true. You just need to stay consistent with it. Um, I I think out in my head a little bit, I was kind of playing the comparison game and seeing some other people who had started around the same time as me who were maybe doing a little bit better than me. And so I was like, what am I doing? Why am I not doing it right? And I don't think that's the case at all. I think it's just that you have to keep going and going and going. And eventually people are going to see you and it's going to happen. But yes, to answer your question, sorry, I'm super long-winded.
No, it's fun. I got
I'm
you.
so happy that I found this. It's like it's like sparked my life again. I feel like I have something that I really am looking forward to doing every day, like making these silly videos and the kids, I'm filming something and I might not like the way it looks, so I'm filming it a couple times, and then the kids are like singing the song or doing a dance with me or something, and it's so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's the future, really. I mean, it's not it's it's not a bad thing to see our children to see us using technology, leveraging technology, because that is their future. Their future
Hmm.
is less, driving. Well, not to say that we're not going to still travel and go to certain locations to interact with people. Being a chiropractor is a great example. We're never going to be able to do that virtually, I don't think, unless there's some sort of a machine that's created, but that takes a personal touch, right? But most professions, or a lot of professions, and is all you got to do is go into the elementary schools now and just start asking kids, what do you want to do? Well, YouTuber or this or right. They're already aware because, well, we as parents do what? Well, we love to put them in front of a device sometimes. Not all of us do it all the time, but all children are
They
aware of technology, you know,
we're all guilty of it to an extent. I think
to an
we
extent.
have to. And I
Right.
mean, even the little ones can use the technology. My 2-year-old, I mean, he can use a remote control to skip the ads on a YouTube video. He goes, "Skip, skip, moat," and he hits the button and there it is. I'm like, "Oh, that's good." My 10-year-old, he actually has a YouTube channel. He and his buddy, if anybody
Yeah.
wants to check it out, it's called Levi and Aiden's World. Follow him, like him, he'll love that.
Shout
Um,
out. Shout
they
out
make
Levi
these
and
little
Aiden.
videos. It's really cute, actually.
I'm sure.
And he has shorts and he all this stuff. He's like, "I'm
Yeah.
gonna try to monetize it, mom." I'm like, "Oh my goodness."
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting, isn't it? I mean, just where we're at as a society and how, you know, technology really truly can be used for good or it can be used for evil. And you know, that's one of the things that was exciting to me at the beginning as well was I was a construction guy. So I was also a physical labor using my hands for work. And when I started to wake up in the morning and have messages or leads or sales, and I was sleeping, I hadn't done any physical work. It was from a video that I posted or emails that were going out. My head was just exploding because in order for me to even get on the clock, I had to get, you know, get some coffee in me, get the boots on, get in the truck, drive to the job, you know, and then realize we forgot something from Home Depot. So drive to Home Depot, come back to the job. And, you know, it was a totally different paradigm shift for me to be having these things happening, you know, while I was either sleeping or at work. What has been the most or one of the things that has surprised you or you said you're excited to get up. What are you specifically excited about and what has surprised you about this journey that you didn't think would happen?
I think what has surprised me is the amount of interest that I've gotten from people with it. You know, like I started out as most people do with 0 followers on any of these social media accounts. So it's grown from nothing at all. And who's going to pay attention to what I'm doing? You know, like who's going to think that that's interesting at all? Aside from maybe the fact that I'm like super dorky doing these weird dances or something like that, it might catch your eye. But just the fact that it's generated the interest that it has in such a short period of time is really crazy to me. And I think that surprised me probably the most. And how I don't want to say easy. It's not been like easy, but how fun and easy it's been, you know, because it's not something that I really look at as work. My husband all the time is like, "You're on your phone doing something again? What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm editing a video." Like, "You're doing that again? Like, I thought you said it takes 2 seconds." I'm like, "Well, I want to add this effect. I want to do this to it." You know, like it's it's a new hobby as well as a job, I think, and it's
Yeah.
fun. So that's the surprising part.
Yeah, I agree, and I know what you're talking about with the it doesn't feel like work really, and that was one of the things that was true for me when I first got started. Obviously, was you know construction, hot sun, sweat, or sit in my home in where I
In the air
wanted to play
conditioning.
hooky anyways, in the air conditioning with carpet under my feet, and I'd like you to talk about the fears because we are so afraid so often to film a video or get on camera or put ourselves out there. And yet, you know, we're doing all kinds of other scary things all the time, not even thinking about it. Getting in a car and driving, you know,
Yeah.
being in a public place around people who could come in and do crazy things. I mean, there's all kinds of danger that we're in every day, but we come into this and there's so many people, including myself at the beginning, who was both awkward, uncomfortable, and fearful of getting on camera and also putting myself out there. How have you dealt with that?
I kind of just um shove it under the rug a little bit. I pretend when I'm making these videos that I'm just recording them for myself. I like do I have fun with it? Is it entertaining to me? Like, are my kids laughing at it? I'm not even thinking about the fact, for the most part, that a lot of other people are going to see it. And that's helped me with it. Like, I
Yeah.
don't really care too much what people think of me anyway. Like, I'm not your cup of tea, fine. Like, scroll past me, whatever. But I try to just put that fear under the rug and not even think about the fact that other people are going to see it. Like right now, talking to you, I know other people are listening and watching me, but I'm just talking to you because if I start thinking about that, I'm going to start sweating. Like now I'm sweating.
So, well, I sweat all the time actually, so it doesn't that's not abnormal to me. Pam asked an interesting question. I can go live, or made an interesting comment. I can go live anytime randomly, but can't do scripts very well. I know that you've had a lot of success batching content, and I want to talk to you about that. But what do you notice about yourself? Are you more able to or comfortable talking kind of spontaneously or off the cuff, or are you more of a bullet point girl, or you enjoy scripts, or is there some other way in which you're preparing? Can you speak to Pam's point there? Do you relate to that, or do you consider yourself the opposite?
Well, I've not done any live, so I can't speak to that exactly. I am a very much like paper pencil, like I like writing lists and crossing things off a lot. So whenever I'm creating my content, a lot of time, like I just have a Google Drive doc that I've jotted down little ideas of things and not necessarily like word for word, just like the general concept of it. And then I kind of go from that. So kind of in between, I guess. Like I
Yeah.
can't just very well fly by the seat of my pants on it, but I like to have something to go from.
Yeah. So let's talk about your transitioning into getting started marketing. You obviously are, it's clear just based on your knowledge and results that you paid attention in the training and went through that. When you transitioned into getting started in marketing, what have you learned that has led you to this kind of batching content strategy or approach that you're using? Kind of walk us through how that came to be. Was it the lull in Christmas, or was it that you were sick at one time? How have you evolved your content creation and kind of that prep to get to where it is now, and what have you learned along the way?
So I really just this past week became super aware of how important batching the content was. I didn't realize until I was just sick. Like I was down and out sick. There were a couple days I was just in bed, could barely like function to take care of my children. Um, so I had kind of just been doing this, thinking like, oh, I'm going to film little bits and pieces of my life here and there, or if I see something that I think is going to be like a good one to do, I'm just going to quickly grab my phone and you know hey, blah, 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 whatever. Um, and so I just had all this stuff in my phone. I hadn't added, like the text and the sound to everything, but I had a bunch of stuff there.
Mm,
And then when I got sick, I was like, oh, thank God I did that because I cannot even imagine. I mean, there could have been some good videos too, me just looking really crappy laying in bed saying, hey, look, you can do it even when you're sick. But I don't think I would have had the mental capacity even to like do that.
right.
So I had been batching stuff, but now I'm just super grateful that I have been doing that.
Mm,
And I think for me, it's just easier to go about my day and film little bits and pieces here and there than to sit down. I know some people say, I'm going to sit and I'm going to devote this like hour or two and film all this stuff. I
yeah.
don't have that time in my day most of the time. My two littlest boys don't even nap anymore usually. The youngest one might pass out for a little bit, but it's when he does, then he's up until 10 o'clock at night. So we can't let him sleep that long anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't have that devoted time every day that I can do it. So I just film here and there as I can, and then I save everything and then add to it whenever I'm sitting and watching TV at night, or when I get up in the morning before anybody else is up, or when the kids are taking that like iPad time for a little bit in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I'll sit there and I'll finish batching stuff. But it's just, I think that's one of the biggest things I can recommend is like have some content there and ready to go. And then you can just sit down, a day or two in advance and plan what you're going to post, where and when. It's helped me at least.
This reminds me of how most of my great marketing discoveries and successes came from, which is by accident. You know,
Yeah,
I
happy
mean,
accident.
yeah, it's like, wow, all those videos that I recorded, but maybe didn't feel like they were good enough, or I was too afraid to post them. Well, now I'm sick and down and out and literally can't do anything, and so, I
Those
think
videos are great.
these are fine. These are good, right, and it's like, "Oh, wow." The takeaway from that was the power of batching content and in treating it like like a real media marketing company would. When your favorite show on Netflix comes out, they've already got 10 episodes or at least 5 filmed. There's preparation. They're not totally flying by the seat of their pants. And that brings me to my next point, or my next question for you is, you know, what is your advice around finding your own process? Like for you, you just kind of described something that was personal to you. You're not particularly totally spontaneous, but you do like to have the freedom to shoot things throughout the day as inspiration comes to you. Some people that may be totally paralyzing. The thought of that, they may need to sit down and knock 5 or 10 videos out over a 2 hour period on a Monday or a Sunday. What's your opinion, and what has it been like for you to both take the training and the strategy and, hey, this is how to do it, like this is how to do a lot of it, and there's a part where you need to personalize it to your own life and your own personality. How have you given yourself permission to do that and be different and find your own routine versus being so obsessed with the way that everybody else is doing it and feeling like if you're doing it differently, you're doing it wrong?
Right. I don't think there's any right or wrong way to do it. I think it's just like learning. People learn in different ways. Some people are visual learners. Some people need to hear it. Some people need to physically do things in order to learn. And I think it's the same with this. I think, you know, the tools are there for us. Like the the things are there to like lay it all out and tell you what you need to do, and then everybody's going to find a way that works for them,
Yeah.
and that's where, again, you can't compare to anybody else. What works for one person isn't going to work for another. Same thing with your kids. Like one kid, to get him to sleep through the night, you might need to do this, and then the next kid, that doesn't work at all. It's, I think, the same exact thing as it is with so many things in life. You just need to kind of trial and error it, see what works for you, and what doesn't. I would love if I had an hour or 2 hours a day that I could sit down and be like, I'm going to bang out all these ideas and have them all there and ready to go. That'd be great. Maybe next year, whenever both of my little guys are in preschool 3 days a week, I can do that Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but not now.
Yeah, and it's also what season of your life are you in, and how much are you expecting to get out of this
Hmm.
based on the time that you have to put into it. And I think that's important to be realistic about because, as you say, you don't have unlimited time to put into it. So there's no cap on your income, but it's better to do something than nothing.
Right. Right. I think it's, you have to get started at some point. You don't want to sit on it, because if you don't get started, nothing's ever going to change. So for me, this is something that I'm looking to grow more and more and more, and hopefully have more time to devote to it as it goes. But I wanted to at least get started. And with the small amounts that I'm able to do here and there, I mean, I feel like I've seen really great results so far. So if I can do it as somebody who is, I call myself super busy. I mean, I feel like I'm super busy all the time. I don't have time to do much of anything. Laundry piles up, and I do that at 11 o'clock at night. And then, you know, get to whatever I can whenever I can. So you just find the time to do it, and then it, it'll work out.
Yeah, and here's the other thing that I was just talking to one of our advisors who was talking to a client, and I said, he said, "Well, hey, this person is feeling like they because there's for example, should I get incorporated? Should I not? Like I don't have the money to be able to do that right now, or do I need to do it right now? And it's like, look, it's like, first of all, going out in mowing a lawn, sometimes if you want to earn extra money, you just get started. You don't waste a bunch of time. It's sort of like the example I give all the time about, doing a construction job. It's like, I'm not going to make any money if I just go into Home Depot and just shop for a hammer all day long and then ask every guy that comes in the store, hey, what hammer did you buy? At a certain point, I just got to grab a hammer and start hitting nails and start earning money. Right?
Yep.
Because if I never just grab a hammer and start hitting nails, regardless of what brand it is, whether it's free or $97 a month or whatever it is, right? Because there's a lot of different, as we're talking about, approaches that you could take and a lot of different ways you could fit it into your life. But the bottom line is that you either go slow and maybe change goes slow, but you're doing something and you can fix, adjust, improve, add, or take away in the future. But the point is progress is being made and hopefully money is being made to be able to lead to you actually being able to leave your job or have more time if you want. And the other option is do nothing, make nothing, and nothing changes.
Not a good option.
So it's like, I can either go down the trail of just doing something. My father used to say when we got to the job, do something, son, even if it's wrong. Just get your ass moving, get out of the truck, get out of the bathroom, whatever you're hiding because you want to take another sip of coffee or I'm, fumbling around sharpening my pencil or, getting my tape. He's like, son, do something, son, even if it's wrong, because then we'll correct it. We'll learn something, but at least we're moving and producing.
And I think with this, it is such a learning process, especially at first, like I never had made a TikTok video in my entire life. I had no clue what I was doing with that. And I think, at first you're like so nervous about looking stupid. So you're refilming a million times and all that. So like you said, just get started, get doing it. As you do it, you get more comfortable, you figure things out. And then I'm not quite 3 months in. Now at this point, I'm like, boop, boop, doo-doo-doo, done, save my draft, good to go. And I don't
Yeah,
overthink
second
it
nature.
anymore. It just is what it is. Some are going to be better than others. Some views are going to be better than others. Whatever, post it, be done with it, move on to the next.
Were you
Hope for a
always
viral one.
were you always this way, or have you evolved recently? Did you ever struggle with perfectionism, or was it
Oh,
this?
I'm used to be very much so a perfectionist. I think having kids has like changed that a little bit too, because I just don't have time. Like I don't have time for it
I get it.
anymore.
You don't when you have kids. I'm telling you, my wife and I can. Oh my God, you just
Yeah.
right. And the older you get, it's hard to explain it, but I think we all know what she's talking about,
Yeah.
right?
And also I just turned 40. So, that's another thing there. So don't have time, don't care anymore, whatever. I just got to do it, be done with it, move on. But at the beginning, like when I was filming my videos and stuff, I'm like, oh, my lips didn't quite sync up to it. Or I made a weird face. Like I stuck my tongue out there, whatever. Nobody should be paying that much attention to that anyway. I want them paying attention to what I'm saying and
Right.
what I'm trying to like get across. So
And they're
if
not.
somebody's going to pay too much attention to that, whatever. It's a short 6-second video. Next.
They're not anyways. Nobody is as critical or noticing of you as you are. You've been
Mm-hmm.
staring at yourself and I remember when I was a kid, and I don't know if I still have it, but I had a mole right here and I had or have a mole. Yeah, it's kind of faded now, but on the back of my leg, like this tiny little thing. And I can remember being in like elementary school and middle school or whatever, and being like conscious of that mole, that
Yep.
tiny
That nobody even noticed.
nobody nobody cared about that mole. Nobody noticed that mole. And it's like, here I am. And I think that's just a great analogy for the way that I can pick myself apart on a 6-second video.
Mhm.
It's insane.
Yep.
We all do it. I mean, we all do it. And the message here is that, folks, nobody's as obsessed about you as you are. You know, we are
Yep.
all just, and it's the human condition. We're all thinking about ourselves all the time. That's why doing service work and helping others is such a big deal to humankind, is because we are naturally, in survival mode. Self-preservation is what it's called. It's the number one priority of every human being. And, obviously that's physical, but it's also socially, right? We're, wanting to preserve ourselves in social situations, but it's completely magnified and it's completely blown out of proportion. And what I realize now is that, I mean, and I've said this before on the show, but I demonstrate it every day. People don't give a damn if I wear the same shirt, if I have this, if I don't shave, if my breath stinks, if I'm, doing this with my tongue, whatever. As a matter of fact, the
They like
more
it more.
they like it more.
Mhm. Yeah. The imperfections they work in your favor.
Yeah. Yeah. They really do. What else could you leave? You're busy. We get that, and I want to respect your time. I clearly see that you have a chiropractic
Thank you. Yeah,
diagram
I
on
actually
your.
I scheduled this in between patients. So I'm pretty sure in 3 minutes, I actually do have a patient coming in. So this was actually really good timing. I appreciate it.
Kelly, thank you so much for your time, and
Oh,
thank you
yeah.
for squeezing us in and sharing your story and experience with us. I'll give you the last word that you could speak to the almost 300 people that are actually
Oh,
listening
God.
to us right
See,
now.
now why?
What would you say to those folks, most of whom may be on the fence and haven't really committed? What would be your final what would you leave them with today?
I would say just go for it. If you're on the fence, if you're thinking about it, give it a try. It's not going to hurt anything to try this and get started. Don't let yourself get too hung up on anything either. Like at the beginning, when you're first getting, learning all the information, getting things up and running, it can be a little bit overwhelming. I know we didn't really talk about that stuff and we don't have time to right now. But push through, push past, get going, start posting, and then you'll be fine. You learn it as you go. Don't get too much in your head. Just do it, and you will be so happy that you did. I mean, it's unlike anything I've ever been a part of before. It's amazing.
Awesome. Well, Kelly, you have a great day. Maybe I'll, if my wife and I are up in Pennsylvania, which occasionally we are, we'll come in for an adjustment.
Please do. I'd love to meet you in person.
Next time, let's talk about how maybe these skills can be applied to a chiropractic business, or for those people who have brick and mortar businesses. Lots to talk about, but you go deal with your patient right now, and we'll schedule a follow-up session with you if you'd care to join us again, and we'll look forward to it.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
All right, Kelly. See ya. All right, my friends, there it is. She's going to go adjust somebody, and we're going to go and get to work. I am thrilled. I'm thrilled that so many people are seeing these skills as valuable and as relevant. They're so relevant for right now. They're so relevant with artificial intelligence and all these things coming out. These skills are no longer something that is that are nice to have. They're mandatory. They're must-haves. So those of you who are like dedicated in here to learn these skills and take things your whole life to the next level because you're acquiring these skills, good for you. You're doing yourself and your family a great service. All right, my friends, we'll see you back here tomorrow. I almost said tomorrow. For another episode with another guest. All right. Meet you here, 10 a.m. Eastern time, same place. All right. Same place every day. And remember, you can always catch these episodes uploaded, the audio, onto all the major podcast platforms, as well as over on YouTube. Okay. So you can just go to the podcast platform, type in Wake Up Legendary, and you'll be able to hear and access all of the recordings. So for those of you who are at work or you're somewhere where you weren't able to catch us live, then know that or if you want to re-listen to episode, know that those resources are also there for you. All right, my friends, continue through the challenge. Don't stop. Keep going. And if you're involved in the blueprints, for example, see you on the live trainings and the decade in a days. Keep going. You can do it. We believe in you. Stay legendary. Peace.